LDNRBS, we have another, I'm going to say special guest. Miss Thea. I'm going to let you say the second name out here because it's hard for me.
Gajic.
There we go. Just give her a clap for her.
Woo!
Hey. Now, as always, I come with these little annoying stories before we interview someone. Now, this one I feel like is a little bit, it's intense.
What story is this?
Well, I say it's intense, but it might not be intense. But you have got an aura about you, I'm just saying. The moment you walked in, I was like, you've got an aura. You have genuinely got an aura. About weird. Anyway.
Got a confession
So,
on my love then, Ty.
I love
I'm
you
just going to
too,
say
man.
these, shout out to that. I feel happy now, hey. But I'm going to say these words. Change the world with your stories, make art, do music. Now, that's
I forgot I wrote, sorry.
She forgot I wrote it. Now, that's the first time that I came across your vibes as such, where you confidently spoke on Nang. That's Nang.
Yeah.
And the potent way that you spoke, and just in general the way that you were on that track as a whole, definitely was impactful. As a whole with poetry, how did that start for you?
I guess I always wrote, like, throughout my whole life, school and everything. I didn't really like English a lot, but I guess I was, like, good at it.
English?
No, I didn't. I never liked it. Like, I found it quite boring when I was younger. And then anyway, so I used to write like short stories, and obviously I've always acted. So one of my friends saw me act in a play and had read some of my short stories. So his name's Kieran, by the way, shout out. So when like spoken word started to become kind of more obviously he's been popping for years, but just in terms of like our generation and whatever, and then like George the Poet and that started coming out. So my friend Kieran wanted to start his own kind of poetry platform, and he had seen me act and do and write this story, so he thought that.
What story was it?
I can't remember now, man. It's a random short story, like I don't even remember, but this was years ago. And so he's like, oh, you should try to do poetry, and I was like, no. And then one day I just wrote something, and I sent it to him and stuff, and then he didn't end up doing the platform in the end, but yeah, that is initially what made me start writing. It wasn't ever a pursuit. It was just, I just tried it, like I just did it for a bit.
Because I also wanted to say something at the start of this interview too, as a whole, for that to set the tone right for what we're going to get into as a whole. Now, there is a lot of people in this city that I think are special. Genuinely, there's a lot of people that do a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But I genuinely think you're one of the gems.
Thank you.
In a whole
100%.
list of loads of artists, loads of people that do poetry, loads of people that do acting, I feel like you are one of them that is standout-ish. Now, it's interesting you just said too that you don't feel like it was a situation where you've chosen to do it or anything like that, it's just come to you. When you start doing your art as such, whether it be acting or anything like that, how would you start the process?
It depends what it, like, I don't know, be more specific, like if it's a film, if it's...
if in terms of you were to like run, how did that come about?
Run started because I had written, so the little piece that's the voiceover that's in Run, I'd written previously, and then I wanted to do visuals for it, but obviously I'm an actress, so I thought, oh, why don't I actually turn this, rather than trying to do visuals for like this kind of poem-ish thing. I wouldn't really say it's a poem, I would more say it's like just a piece of writing, rather than doing visuals for that and making it like some kind of like specific thing to that. I wanted, because I wanted to be in it and actually act, so I then adapted it into an actual like narrative with natural dialogue and stuff like that, and then I just found a way to include it in the film.
So you see, when you get into that narrative for the dialogue, how do you get it for specific characters to get the feel and people to feel the characters? How do you get the dialogue for that?
I think I'm a very observant person, which I think a lot of actors are, which is how we are able to portray characters and other people. So in terms of dialogue, I think I just subconsciously intake a lot of what I'm around, and just the nuances of how people speak to each other, whether that be in-depth conversations or just tiny little things, that tells you that someone is comfortable with another person. And I'm very much about all of those subtleties. Like I don't really want it to seem contrived and say, oh, this is how people speak, when it's not. Do you know what I mean? Because people speak in broken sentences and they don't like always know what they're saying, and so I prefer that kind of thing.
I feel like you really captured with the dialogue in Run. I feel like you really captured the subtleties, like what you said now, in terms of the youth. How there was a part where me and Nabir were talking about where they broke out and started singing, and that is something that people do in their day-to-day basis when they're with their friends. And the actual storyline in Run is like on the bullet on what goes on in our generation when someone's trying to meet each other. So what do you want to do from there in terms of bringing like awareness to how we all dismiss different people in our lives that could have been something but isn't something now? Do you know what I mean?
I think it's just one of those, it is like one of the beautiful things and sad things. It's like a bittersweet thing about life and about humanity, where we tend to cross paths with people and don't always get
every day on the train.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm looking at people, obviously, I'm thinking, I wonder what he does for a living. I wonder who's going to I'm thinking, will I ever see this person again? So when I saw Run, that little, I love the way it just finishes like that as well.
Yeah.
So it's very true to life. You know, that happens every single day. And like I said, the whole vibe that you have with Run, even the small little, like the little paid in full thing. Money.
One of my favourite films ever.
Yeah, that's something that we all do, and the small, I feel like you captured that so well, the small, subtle, like you said, little details of everyday life that everyone can relate to. So,
thank you.
Even the spud got to me. I was like,
with that spud, like in
that took me long to edit, you know, that bit. long.
Right,
so it's safe to say, like you said, you edited.
Yeah.
You directed, I'm guessing. Write the theme tune, sing the theme. It's safe to say that you kind of created your own sort of platform for yourself.
Yeah.
So you went from, because the first time I saw you, I don't know if you remember when you performed at a Vibes with Us event ages ago. I went to see my friend Jay Saurus.
Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah.
That's years ago.
Jay Saurus is the one that she was like,
No, I just remember because I know that's where I met him, so that's why I'm like,
Yeah. So I saw you there, and I first was put onto you as a spoken word artist. So how do you think, in terms of you would describe yourself more as an actress? Right? Is that safe to say?
Yeah.
So when someone says to you, "Oh, you're that spoken word artist," or how is that? Is that easy to deal with, or how do you separate it? Kind of.
I think they like people haven't referred to me as that for a while because I purposely came out of that.
Right.
Because I was becoming aware that people were seeing me as that. It's because it's way easier to create and put that out than it is to create films. Do you know what I mean? 100%. So for me to do Run, I have to save, I have to create the budget, I have to get the crew, I have to get the cast, which takes 10 times as longer as it would to just release a poem, record in 82 hours, put it out next day. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was just it's quick. It was quick for me to do that, and I had access to studios and people around me because at the time I was with MME, and it's just easier access. So obviously I was able. It was just a way for me to create and make some kind of noise. But then obviously it got a bit too further than I wanted it to be. So then I consciously made a decision to like come out of that and step back and. Yeah, up until like last week because I started randomly performing again. It worked.
But is that not something that you'd continue to do, kind of here and there, but just make? No,
I think definitely here and there. Like I don't mind doing.
I wanted that album.
Little verse.
I said it with a straight face too. I wanted that album. I'm being honest. She's scratching her head now. Like I'm not making an album.
There's some people that are more visual. Like I'd say I'm more visual. Even film ideas. If I was to have an idea or something, I like how you kind of the finished product because it's very foreign filmy and it's, you know, the visual is really captivating visually, but then there's some people that like music more or like to listen more, so there's like certain people that are going to gravitate towards you more because of
I definitely understand that, and I'm glad you said foreign film because I take all my inspiration, a lot of it from like French film and stuff.
What's your favourite French film?
Yeah, probably. But I like Rust and Bone. Don't know if you've seen that.
I've never seen that.
Just the name gets me though. Rust and Bone. I'm gonna have to go check that.
It's really good. It's really good. With Marion Cotillard, who's one of my favourite actresses. Anyway, digress.
Have you seen that foreign film Dogtooth?
No, you keep talking. Yeah, it was yeah.
That's probably one of my favourite films, just because I'm a weirdo myself, and it's a really weird. Like, you should watch it. It's like a really weird.
You've been telling me to watch this film for long. I still haven't done it.
So good.
Okay,
Well,
I'm
right.
mentally taking down these films. So
Now, you put out one short film that we've all pretty much seen.
Yeah.
Run. You got another one I've seen called Guilt.
Yeah.
Now, what's the vibe with Run and Guilt? Like Run and Guilt. Like,
Has Guilt- have
like
you
that's
put that out
the
yet, or
No.
behind the scenes?
I wrapped on Saturday. Yeah, so it's not. I don't have the footage yet, so I haven't even seen it.
Have you told anyone exactly what the concept is behind Guilt?
Not really. Only in person, like a couple of people if they've asked me. Are you about to ask me?
Yeah. You said it before. I did.
Guilt is basically about two
Can we
young.
get? Sorry, 1 minute. Exclusive.
Woo!
Hey.
Exclusive.
There we go. Let's go.
Exclusive.
You heard it here first. Guilt is basically about young parents, 22, 23-year-olds, whose 3-year-old son gets kidnapped.
Right.
And yeah,
Prisoners, vibe.
essentially. But you don't. It's not like you only find out that at the end of the film. So it's not
kind of
like.
gave it away then a little bit.
It's not like. No, it's not. You don't. It's not give it away.
Oh, okay.
It's calm.
She's like, it's calm.
So
This
that's
art
the
is
way
out
it's
here.
really
This is
calm.
calm. Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
Was that inspired by anything, or was it just?
Like there's a bit in the film that's like got the character I play and another woman, and they're like from completely different worlds.
Right.
And I had that idea first before anything else came into it, just about how two people from different kind of worlds meet. So like my character's got like, she's smoking, she's got some cheap energy drink, etc., and our
Shout out to
person's
Rebel.
got like a falafel wrap and a banana kind of
gosh.
thing. So I was like,
Talk about
oh, what
combination.
happens? Like, what happens when those two kind of people meet? So that's what I had initially, but it wasn't going anywhere. And then I watched Atlanta. Don't know if you guys.
Everyone's telling me to watch it.
I love Atlanta.
Yeah. And in the first episode, I think it's the first episode, Donald Glover's characters obviously they're young parents and they have a child, and I think he picks the child up late or something happens with the child, and that just kind of, nothing bad happens to their kid, but that just kind of like sparked something in me, and then I just wrote the next day. But basically I just wanted to explore, like I think with my films going from now and in the future, I want to explore like more stories for young people and for different communities, rather than stories that always get told by a middle class, middle aged white audience. And like, so what happens if young parents lose their child? Do you know what I mean? Like you don't hear about them things. What happens if a young person's sister's got a mental health issue, and how do they deal with that? Like, what happens in these kind of households? Because all you see is what I just mentioned, you know what I mean? Like Madeleine McCann's parents, etc., etc., etc. You don't see how other communities deal with those issues. So that's what I'm aiming to continue to do.
It's almost like, because it's so with like the lower class, it's like, it's kind of like victim blame a little bit.
Yeah, no, of course, it's like,
when it's a middle class, it's like, oh, how did that happen to them?
Yeah.
So I think it's really good that you're trying to capture that.
yeah, because there's not a lot, like off the top of my head I can think of Ken Loach, who writes for working class people, who just brought a new film out, but apart from him, like there's not a lot of people that are writing for working class people and not making it about negative things in terms of gangs and all of this stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
And I just
too much of that.
Yeah, but it's just annoying because I feel like people buy into their own stereotype a lot, because it's like, cool, kidhood and all these films come out, cool, no shade, nothing like that, like cool, you're doing your thing, but then it's like people want to be complaining, they only want to show young black guys doing drugs and guns, but then that's all you want to see though. And it's like when someone else shows something else, you're like, this is boring, where's all this, you know what I mean? And it's like, people need to, obviously it's been bought in by the industry, because it all comes down to funding and what companies are willing to make for your films, because they know this works for a certain crowd, and because not a lot of people have done the other thing, like people are less likely to push those films forward because they don't know if it's going to work and they don't know if it's going to reach audiences. But it's just like a circle that continues to go around. Exactly.
A lot of the actors and actresses that you have in your films are like ethnic minority backgrounds, which is something that I love, especially because some of the young, like you said, the young black males in your films, they're not what you'd expect what the media expect a young black man to do. I've got so many black friends that are like skater dudes, and they're like they're not out just like doing all that stuff, like moving all that stuff.
All tight, that's just on SoundCloud all day. That's
there's like so many different types of different people, and I feel like your films are gonna bring that out a lot. How do you go about casting? Are they your friends, or is it like
in Run, obviously in terms of like decisions on race, etc., it's just all based on, I grew up on a council estate in Brixton Hill, do you know what I mean? This is what I was surrounded by. Like I wasn't just surrounded right. I wasn't
stop the whole thing. To be honest, I do need to
like, do you know what I mean? And I don't even see white working class people being represented on film, like let alone other races, do you know what I mean? So it's like there's so many stories to tell. Yes, of course, when I lived in Brixton Hill, there was all of these things going on that we do see, but there was always also a wealth of other stories that went on that no one ever sheds light on, kind of thing. In terms of casting in Run, they were all my friends. We actually all met, including Olan Koladi, who is the cinematographer, through Latimer group. So they're a company. Before they did Latimer Live, they do Latimer Talks, which is a networking event every month. They've been doing that for years, so I've been close to the company since they were tiny in a little basement office, and so that's how we all met. Over time we all ended up bumping into each other at Latimer, so shout out them. And so with Run, that's how I cast, because I just trusted them as friends and as actors. And then with Guilt, I reached out to new people,
completely new.
Except the only person I kept the same was the cinematographer. Everyone else was new.
First time you met them was on
one of the actresses, she was in the play with me, with the old Vic, but everyone else.
Now tapping into all your films that you've short films that you've released and spoken word, do you ever get people reaching out to you in terms of, I relate to that, and do they seek advice from you as well?
A lot of people. I think yesterday I had Run got screened at the BFI Black Star.
Well done for that as well. Well done.
Thank you.
Give a dab for her. Hey.
And lots of people spoke to me after that event and asked for advice. I think with actors as well, because I'm an actress, but then I'm doing the directing thing, so it's kind of like, it was more like that advice, like how do I do that as well?
Is it difficult to direct yourself?
My whole next question. That's what I'm saying. I was about to ask.
Sorry.
But
it's really hard. Like with Run, I trust Olan, cinematographer, again so much, so I don't have to always check the scenes and check everything. On Guilt, we had a bigger crew, so I had a first assistant director, who's my friend, who I trust completely. She studied film and stuff, so she knows what she's doing. So the scenes I went in, I could rely on her to tell me if it was working or not. When I'm not in a scene, it's obviously easier to direct and I can separate myself, but with Run it was more difficult because I was in more of the film than I am with Guilt. So as an actor, I don't want to look back at myself straight away, because I'm not telling the story in the same way. Like when you're acting, it's in the moment, it's going to change every time you do it. So if I see the screen, I'm going to be like, oh, why does my shoulder look like that? Do you know what I mean? But as a director, you have to look at it to be sure that the points are being hit and everything's being told in the story. So it's definitely difficult to juggle both of those things.
Now, also, I wanted to say, you're obviously Thea, and you do a lot in terms of facts, for sure. You do a lot in terms of art, in terms of being a poet, in terms of your films.
Yeah.
Now, there's another stigma that I think you've got with you too, which is definitely associated with you, and that's RS. Let's keep it real.
Oh.
Like, he's definitely
I was there like, what's she gonna say?
Definitely associated with RS, because you have this movement thing in your videos. You've had 2 videos with him.
Yeah,
doing
shout
a
out
movement
Kay.
Sequence.
Yeah.
Tell me about how the first one came about.
Okay, so me and Kaide met before he was RS.
I remember.
At R&D, which is research and development, for Southwark Playhouse, which is a theatre in Elephant and Castle. And we were just doing like a workshop there, and we happened to get paired together. And
God.
we happened to get paired together, and we had to show back the work. And in the work, it was it wasn't what you've seen us do, but it was kind of similar to that. And we had a piece of text, and we had to create from the text and then show it back afterwards. And then we stayed in contact, blah blah blah. And then obviously he used to do vines and whatever. And then one of his vines he then developed to be RS. So then we just used to hang out a lot, like talk about acting, come to my house, shoot stuff. We've got like footage that you'll never even see, like just random stuff. So then that was just he obviously I don't know what course he exactly did at uni, but he's very good at practicing stuff. So like he's like he's just very good at communicating with you and like creating all these ideas and stuff like that. So we just spent some time doing the physical theatre kind of thing, and so we just did that first. We put out that little video that you've seen on the sofa, and we wasn't meant to put that out. We were just messing around in my house, and then he decided to put it out, and then everyone was like, what the hell? And then we wanted to do our own little short film that was around that kind of music dance movement. And so we've been rehearsing for that. We go National Theatre, rehearse for long, like just
how long does that take?
It's weird, but it's basically just like, if I was to touch your shoulder, then you touch my head.
Honestly, if you did it wouldn't work. Well, go on.
Like, all of this stuff.
Why would that melt?
You just go back and forth. So say it's like,
it's almost like a movement. So 1, 2.
Yeah, so it's like I touch you, you touch me, so, and you create this thing, and then you repeat it until you remember the sequence.
Okay.
And then you can add more, or you can go to 12 or however many you remember, and then you have to put it in a setting. So then you have to adapt that to the sofa or to the bar or wherever you're meant to be. Okay. So it might change.
We should try that now.
It's good fun. So we created that. We like created a story around it, blah blah, and then we were getting to shooting that film when Jacob Banks reached out.
Of course. He reached out to you actually.
I think he knows Kaide.
Okay.
I don't know where they know each other from, but he had seen our thing, and then he was like, we want you two to da-da-da. So obviously we already had material, so we were like, cool. So we just took that material into the video.
It worked so well in that video as well.
It was fun.
The Unknown, that out of all your short films, that stood out more to me, only because it was something that's relatable to a lot of people that's out there, and the way you captured it with the movement and with the emotions through the face, it was just like it was like you could lead it onto abusive, you could lead it onto taunting, or you could lead it onto judging, you could lead it onto name calling, because it was so many. It wasn't in your face, but it was that there was a negative in it. And then when you dropped the bomb, I'm pregnant, it was like, well, damn, where is this gonna go?
It was good. It was fun to shoot, and he's amazing to work with, and you'll carry on seeing us doing stuff.
I want to see more of that. I want to.
We're really good friends, so it's cool.
Have we got another exclusive?
No.
You mentioned theatre a lot, though.
No exclusives.
You mentioned theatre a lot.
Yeah.
Is that something that you've always wanted to do, like theatre and... Is it like, would you call it Broadway sort of, or is that not the right thing to say?
No, it's Broadway, but that's like if you're in America doing on Broadway.
No,
it's fine. No, but that's just like, so if someone says you're on Broadway, that means you're like, so it's equivalent of West End here.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I feel like it's good that you started off with theatre though, because I feel like theatre, like in terms of as an actress, you can go on for longer in terms of...
It's very challenging.
Yeah. I know theatre's like... I love it so much. Like, I'll choose it over film.
Yeah,
right.
Always. It's definitely an actor's.
You can
like home, and you have full control as well. Like with film, if it's not your own film, like you.
Right.
Like the director might not like what you're doing. You have to change it, and it's really hard because it's not usually shot in order either. So you can't go on the same journey that you can in its entirety as you would with theatre, because obviously you're in a rehearsal process for months beforehand, and then you're developing all the time with all your actors. With film, they don't have the time to do that, so you might not even get rehearsal until you're there, or like the day before or whatever. Do you know what I mean? And it's very like individual, so you do your work and then you bring it on the day. Whereas with theatre, everyone's always together because it takes so much for it to work. And then on the day, you're in character for an hour or an hour and a half or whatever, however long the play is. So it's much more fulfilling, and there's nothing like a live audience, do you know what I mean, that you feed on. Yeah.
I got a question.
Sorry, go on.
I got a question.
Go on, babe.
So, why'd your voice change? Damn. But I got a question for sure. Simple one. What makes Thea different? I enjoyed that one. That's it. I got her.
That's awkward, man. I don't know.
What makes? Because I know there's a lot of things you can tell from afar. You're very different. What makes you different?
I don't know. I don't know if I'm.
Wake up
it's hard. It's quite a self-indulgent question, though. Like I don't really.
Can I answer that?
Please.
What I think is different about you is it's very real. Everything. It's not like you get a lot of young actors and a lot of spoken word artists, for example. They're writing things that they think people want to hear.
Yeah.
Or they're writing things or they're writing like kidulthood, no shade. But loads of people, that's what they want to see. That's what people think that they would want to relate to. Whereas with you, it is what it is. Like you write, you create everything that is true to you. Or maybe not. It might not necessarily be a story about yourself. But I wouldn't know. It might be someone close to you, but it's something that you've lived or something that you've seen or witnessed or. So for me, it's a lot more raw, and it's something that I gravitate towards more because there's nothing worse than seeing someone that you can tell they're just not themselves. You know.
Yeah. Thank you, man. But I appreciate that because I think it's very hard. Like I've been having this conversation with a lot of friends of mine who are artists in
Can I just say,
different genres.
Thea's very real, you know that. I've just noticed you're very real. The way she's calm. Yeah, I've been having this conversation, but I'm letting you go. Keep on going.
Sorry. What am I saying? Yeah, like it does get frustrating that a lot of these industries do get flooded with people that are trying to live the lifestyle or they're doing it because they think it's cool, and a lot of art comes from painful places. And it's like and it's very annoying when people are trying to jump on it and writing about labels and fashion, writing poems about all of these things, you know what I mean? And it's like, but you're like you said, you're only doing that because you've been to a spoken word event and you heard someone else writing about that, and people in the crowd have been like, so now you want to do it yourself. Do you know what I mean?
Mediocre.
Yeah, exactly.
Praised,
so then I think you can never. Art isn't about other people. Do you know what I mean? Like, it is.
Sorry, Thea, can you say that again, please? Just for the people that's listening to this, that
art isn't about other people. It is, in lots of ways, a very selfish thing. Like, you make it because you need to and you want to. Obviously, out of that, you're aware of how it affects other people, and then it becomes selfless. Then you're trying to, reach out to a bigger audience, but initially, you're right. It's an event. It's an escapism. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's what. Yeah, that is why people do it.
Would you say that's challenging as well? Because sometimes, like, for me, for example, I used to write, I used to write, never put it out, because for me it was for myself. It wasn't something that I wanted to have people see. I would literally be up, if I can't sleep 2 a.m, that's when I'm most creative. I'll write a piece. But for me, sometimes, I'm lucky that I don't put it out and there's no one listening to it, because sometimes you have to go back to that place that I might not necessarily want to go back to. So, for example, like you said, sometimes people ask you to come on stage and you'll perform something that was maybe something that you wrote 2-3 months ago about something that you cared about 2-3 months ago. You might still care, but you might not want to relive that. So it's something that's difficult for you.
I think most artists have a major backlog of things that you never will see. Like, do you know what I mean? Because they've done it, because, like you said, they're venting late at night and they need to write and whatever. And then sometimes you just feel like you do need to share it. Like, I just went to Serbia in October. Obviously, my dad died last year, which a lot of people know because I was quite vocal about it.
Sorry about that.
It's okay. And I wrote a poem. I'd visited his grave and I wrote a poem because I was obviously upset or whatever. And then that was very personal, but I feel like, I don't know, it's weird, like some things that you have to put it out for whatever reason, because you know that people should be reading this, or they should, like, this might affect you in a way, this might cause you to think a different way about something, which is essentially what it's about provoking for, and it's about all of those things. So I think it's definitely like,
if it's the piece I think you're talking about, because I read it, that did a lot for me in other ways, in a different type of grievance. You've been through.
No.
Okay.
It was just like I put it on Facebook.
So I saw it. And for me, it's something that, I'm more grateful that you would put something out that's so challenging to you, that's so personal to you, because in some ways it could help so many other people.
Real art.
Yeah. But that's why, like, I decided to write the article about it, because I thought. So basically, my dad had for everyone that doesn't know, because this might be just weird for them to be like, what is she talking about? So my dad died from an accidental heroin overdose, and I think writing the article that I released in August, which was his year anniversary. I just wanted to raise awareness because obviously we didn't know that he was using like whatever or had relapsed or whatever recently, because he'd been clean for like over 25 years or whatever. Do you know what I mean? So I just wanted to like break stereotypes about that, and like everyone, do you know what I mean, like someone next to you could be addicted to something and you would never know.
No idea.
Like because people are functioning alcoholics, or they're functioning whatever it is that they're, do you know what I mean, weed or whatever it is, like people, and you wouldn't notice because they're just living a normal life. And I think especially now when like mental health and stuff is becoming more, people are more willing to talk about it, and it's very important because it saves lives, you know what I mean, and it breaks taboos about those topics, because it then makes the person who's going through it feel like they can seek help and they don't feel ashamed about exactly. So that's why I spoke about that.
Awesome. I have someone next to me that definitely has been a fan of what you've been doing and she wants to ask you a question, so here's Ella.
I was wondering, when you're writing, obviously sometimes do you feel like you'll start something off and then you'll suddenly lose motivation, and how do you pick that motivation up? Because I know sometimes when I write, because I write a couple of pieces myself, I'll start doing something and I'll think, I don't know how to pick myself up. How would you say you pick yourself up if you lose a bit of motivation, or
like
you're a bit low?
I think I've learnt now never to write for the sake of writing, which I think takes a while for you to understand, and I still do it myself. Like I went to write a new film yesterday and stared at a blank page for like 20 minutes because I'm like, I don't have anything to say right now. And I think it's about accepting that you don't have anything to say, and your poem or whatever it is might finish in the middle of a sentence, and that's fine. Do you know what I mean? Because that's just, you're not a machine, like you're a human being, and if it stops there, then it stopped there, and you can pick it up if it comes back to you. But also I think there's a thing called free writing which helped me, which I still go back to sometimes. So basically you just write anything, it could be gibberish, and you just don't stop. So you maybe set yourself 5 minutes, for example, and just write without commas, without thinking about grammatical errors, knowing that no one's ever going to read it except for you. And if you get stuck, like say you get stuck on the word tree, for example, then just write tree until something else comes into your head, and then from there you can pick like a phrase that you might have liked and then start again. Do you know what I mean? And then continue. So I used to do that. I don't do it so much anymore, but it is very useful for things like that.
And with so many, because obviously you've got more popular, like when you're putting something out and it's very personal, do you feel sometimes a bit hesitant because you have so many eyes on you? Like do you feel, oh, maybe I shouldn't put this out, maybe it's a bit too personal? What do you
I think I don't anymore. I think after I released that article I was just like it's calm now. But in terms of like, I don't think about it when I'm creating it, but I think afterwards, like when you know this is actually going to be put out, you're a bit like, because obviously every time you make something there's more pressure on you, like to be as good as your last piece or whatever. So it's kind of is that pressure, but I don't know, I think I just really try to go with my instinct. So if I feel like I'm going to put this out, then I just do it. And then
do you ever just like kind of throw your phone to the side and then not want to like look at
and just put it out there? And then I don't know, you just have to trust yourself and believe in, and just understand that people might not like it and be okay with that, I think.
That's important. What does Thea do for fun?
This is fun. This is all fun to me. Like, this is fun. I'm lucky enough to enjoy wholeheartedly what I do.
You dropped out of uni like I did.
Yeah, I did.
She couldn't expose her like that. She just like,
I dropped out of uni as well.
That gives me hope that I can be something.
Yeah, I did, because I didn't ever want to go to uni, just drama school. But when I was, how old are you when you leave college? 16? 16?
Yeah.
How old are you?
When you leave college, you're
18. Oh, 18. Yeah, so 18.
She should ask me how old are you?
No, not you. No, I mean when you leave college. So 18, I didn't know what I wanted to go to drama school, but it's like very rare to get in at 18, so I auditioned, whatever, I didn't get in. And then I kind of panicked. I took a gap year, then I kind of panicked, like that kind of, oh my god. So then I was like, oh, let me just go uni. For what reason, I don't know. But I knew I didn't want to do anything dramatic in uni because I knew it wouldn't really be worth my time. So I thought, oh, what else can I do? So then I did creative writing for like 1 term, boy. And then I was like, I did learn that free writing thing though, so it was good for some things. But yeah, but then I was like, what? Like, as soon as I went in there, like, obviously lots of people go to uni, society makes you think like, oh, if you go to uni, you're going to do this, and there's a whole process. There's a whole process around it. And then as soon as I got there, I was like, hold on, there's how many hundreds of people in here all thinking that way and thinking the same thing, like, this can't surely be right. Like, do you know what I mean? And then I was like, this is just the same as the real world outside, like, it's not, there's no difference. And then that's when I first got into the play with the old Vic, and then I left.
So guys,
she just dropped the mic and walked.
Mad thing. So guys, I always look through people's tweets. I'll be scrolling, literally trying to find what been emotionally tweeting or anything like that. Now yesterday, yeah, it was yesterday, you tweeted
I'm
Trump,
scared now.
Yeah, you tweeted
Trump won't win.
Trump won't win.
Yeah.
And then he won. How do you feel about that?
I was so annoyed this morning, man. I was
your first reaction?
Basically, I woke up early, like, I was wake up like 6 for some reason. And he hadn't won yet, but like, it was, the votes were, you know. So then I looked at my phone and I saw like the vote. It was just, I kind of had this whole Brexit feeling.
Yeah.
Because like with Brexit, I really thought, no, it won't. Like, you know, part of you's like, oh, it probably will, but majority of you's like, nah, it won't. Definitely won't.
Definitely.
And then I woke up and I was like, no. And it was just kind of similar to this. I was just like, no way. No way.
I crazily woke up at the very moment. Literally, I woke up and then it said he's president. I was like, how could I just wake up at that moment with my dream and let me go back to sleep? But anyway,
you know,
is what it is.
Birds, boy, I was just
and a second one,
I woke up early.
A second one is, and I've definitely looked at this like 5 times to try to figure out what it meant at first, but underestimated the uneducated, and then I got it in the end. I like that. Tell us more about that.
I just think, like, obviously America's like historically ruined country, but there's a lot of uneducated people there because they don't put any money into their education system, really. Like, so when you think about, like, okay, all the cities in America and the educated people that go there, and then you have to think about how vast the country is. So there is like a whole lot of land there, and people are unemployed and are uneducated, and they're just there doing nothing. Essentially. But I think people who are educated and who are morally aware and humane, like, we forget, just like what happened with Brexit, do you know what I mean? Like, everyone in London was like, we're a multicultural, diverse
until that day
race, whatever, and then you realise, and you see the maps and you see how many people have voted for what you wouldn't have voted for, or whatever it is, and then it's just kind of like, I forgot that majority of people aren't like to this level of whatever.
So, also, I wanted to say too, as a whole, with all of this, yourself, I genuinely believe that your story is literally at the start of it. I think there is a long journey with yourself. Now, is there anything lastly that you want to say to anyone that's going to be happening next? Tell us.
She's coming to Art Breeds Creativity on Sunday.
She has to. She is. We're gonna send you video.
Looking at the flyer now, guys.
I just kind of put her on the spot.
Let me just think.
No, that's okay.
I'm just thinking what's coming up that I can say. I don't know. Maybe just look out for Guilt at the moment.
Guilt.
I'm on
sort of film.
I guess I would. No, I would. I don't know if I'm like, don't know how good I am. I don't know how good my comedic timing is as an actress. Right. But I wouldn't say no if it was like a good story. It's all about the story. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. If it's good. I have a verse
It's
on.
weird you said that, but then I was looking at back the Jacob video, and I thought to myself that to me that was the whole thing was comedy just because of RS. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't get out of it.
No, but you can't think of him as RS.
Yeah.
I'm trying to. I can't do it.
That's the problem.
You need
Yeah,
to
I can't do it.
separate him from that.
Because he's a brilliant
character.
actor, man.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, for him
Try
to
my
create that and for people to buy into it so heavily just shows you how good he is. I've got. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but I'm not going to say it. But I've got a verse on someone's song.
A2.
Well, she'd say it if it was A2. I'm trying to guess Kano.
Soon, guys, soon.
Soon.
Cool.
I can't wait for Soon's new song, honestly.
So where
It'll be
can
great.
people find
Shout out to
you?
Soon.
My handle, whatever, is the same on everything. Thea Gajic, TheaGajic. That is also the name of my website.com. And all my work's on my website, really, if you wanted to get everything in like one kind of space. Yeah.
Party.
So guys, that was Thea Gajic. There we go.
You got it,
Got it in
finally.
the end. So LDNRBS, we've got the 13th of November. We've got Art Breeze Creativity. Is going to be crazy from the start to the finish, I'm telling you. But I enjoyed this as I thought I would. So
Thank you, I've enjoyed it.
no, it's been good for sure.
Lovely,
I think last
guys.
we were saying over here.
Everyone follow them.
Yes, follow.
Yes.